All right, well, good afternoon, all. It's going to be an early day today. I've already swapped bikes to get this one out for a little exercise. It's been parked for, oh man, almost 2 months now. And unfortunately, the weather is complete crap right now. It's been storming and raining all around this area right now. Luckily, this is somewhat of a dry pocket, but I don't think that luck is going to hold out. All right. I do have the rain gear with me if I need it, so see how that works out. This is my mile muncher. I have not ridden it in a while. It's a great machine for commuting, for just all around anything bike. Honda CB500X. It's got just enough ground clearance and suspension to kind of get around. The suspension's a little, I won't say a little, it's a lot basic. It's very basic. It's non-adjustable. A little harsh over small bumps, but you know, you learn to get used to the little shortcomings, and you don't have to be nice to this thing. You can just flog it about and it never complains. And the worst fuel mileage that I ever get out of this thing in my mixed city highway commute routine is 62. If I'm doing steady state highway and being nice to it, I get right under 70. It gets a few miles less to the gallon than my CB500F does, the naked version, just because I guess, you know, more aerodynamic drag, big windscreen, and, you know, a little more upright posture. And of course, now it is raining good and solid, and I'm going to have to stop and put on the rain gear. Crapola. Where can I stop? Don't you do it. Okay, I'm going to pull right in here and do my Clark Kent. And the discussion back on the Ryker not having emergency flashers. Look, even a Honda's got it. All right, my lunch takeaway, Froggy Toggies. Actually, I might not do the frog togs. I've got my other set in here that's a little more robust. Problem with that frog togs is it's very thin and it flaps a lot in the breeze. It's good as an emergency rain suit, but I don't like using it for extended highway runs. And I do not have my waterproof gloves with me today. Those are at home. Oh well. These Olympias are very nice. It's part of my touring gear. Hey, get on there. Probably ought to tuck the boots too. Because I think this is going to be a soggy ride. Ooh, this is getting stiff. Okay then. Get the waistband on this thing set. Look like I'm playing with myself. Oh yeah, we got the Thunder Boomers. I'm gonna get soggy. Try to get this on before it gets even wetter. Sorry, I'm breathing heavy on everybody's ear here. Maybe I'll just cut the audio and do some music, eh? All right. Latch up. Okay. Bottoms are taken care of. I don't have my little... Do I have my condom for this thing? Let's find out. I do. Don't always have that with me, but today I do. Got a little shower cap. I don't know which side's front, which side's back. I'm gonna figure it out, huh? Hey, you got it right on the first try. Now let's get this guy on. This is something any of my overseas viewers might recognize, Macna. They're apparently pretty popular in Europe. We don't get them here. This was something through Revzilla, I believe, that they just had a brief overstock of, and they don't really sell the rest of the gear, but they did have this inner liner. Actually, it's not an inner liner, it's an outer liner for one of their sets of jackets and pants or whatever. But it was a sweet deal, and I grabbed it, and it really works nice as an over jacket. Give my Pilot Road 4s their test of worthiness here on the wet pavement. Everybody says these things stick like glue. They do pretty well. I wouldn't say like glue. You get them on wet surfaces and they still squirm around a bit. Especially on fresh wet surfaces, you've always got that loose layer of oil and schmutz on the pavement that just turns everything into goo. Doesn't have quite as much roll-on power as the Ryker. Downshift a couple times, maybe it'll get a little more poke. So anyway, back to this bike. It's such a great machine, great all-around machine. Whenever I've been off of it for any length of time, as soon as I sit down on it and do a few blocks down the street, it's like, oh wow, what a great machine this is. Neutral seating position, great road manners. It's not terribly fast, but it's not designed to be. It's kind of a mid-level bike. It meets the European A2 standard, so not lots of horsepower or torque. But plenty to get you where you want to go, and it'll do it time and time again, just as reliable as a hammer. Of course, I've outfitted mine with some additional toys. I've got the MadStad Engineering windscreen here. Okay, groove pavement, nothing. No squirm, no wiggle, no nonsense. It's just rock solid. Anyway, MadStad windshield and these winglets down here come with it. It's just so calm right here in this pocket. It's amazing how well this thing works. We've got a custom nav mount plate up here that I mounted my Zumo, and the mount over here is a rock form phone mount. Unfortunately, I don't have that case on my phone right now, so I couldn't clip in my phone in. And my Samsung S7 Edge is waterproof for the most part, but I have noticed if I'm charging it when it's wet like this, every now and then the charging port will quit working for a while until it dries out, so I don't charge it while I'm in the rain. I could probably fill the port full of dielectric grease and solve that little problem, but I'm not really that concerned about it. Stop over at my warehouse. I've got a workmate meeting me there. He needs to pick up some computer equipment that I've had for a while. looks like heading out my direction toward Katy, it's not raining. That's nice. We'll see. The other things that I've added to this bike, I've got obviously the bark busters and the guards and everything up here. And then I've done some lighting mods on it. I've got an SW-Motech light bar on the front, or light bar mount, that I put some pod lights from superbrightleds.com. I've used their products for a number of years and I really like them. It's like the water's ponding here a bit. What else? I've got the Denali sound bomb horn on here. A bunch of different things. Turned it into a commuter bike for me. Got the engine guards. I got some RNG LED signals on the front. I did not do the rears because I didn't feel like pulling the tank and putting in a LED flasher. Honda did not give this particular model, this is 14, they didn't give it a solid state flasher. So if you replace all your bulbs with LED, then you get hyper flash. What else is on here? I've got a PDM60 on here for power distribution. It feeds the front end, the horn, the driving lights, all that. So it's a solid state power distribution. This is the second bike that I put that on. Very reliable piece of gear. I like it. It's fully programmable, so you can set the maximum amperage limits for each of the 6 outputs to your liking. It has 1 or 2 that are high amperage, 30 amps, and then the others, I think, maximum 15 amps on every other circuit, but you shouldn't exceed 60 amps total draw on it. I think that's where the 60 and the moniker comes from. What else is on this guy? Obviously the shad luggage mounts. I put the 3P shad system on this with the SH36s, and then recently they came out with some smaller panniers that required a slight modification to the end cap on the 3P system. So the SH36s don't quite fit on here anymore unless I decide to do some custom modding to that little end plate, but I just leave the SH36s for my other gear right now, my other bikes. And then the top master on the back for the SH39. Just made this thing immensely usable for any task, whether it be long highway jaunts or commuting or, light ADV. This is another soft rotor kind of bike. This is not an ADV bike. It's styled to be kind of like one, but it is not an ADV bike. I would not want to run this thing in a gnarly single track or even moderately difficult mountain trails. It just wouldn't be smart. It's just too heavy. There's a lot of driveline lash in this one too, on-off throttle, so idling it at low speed kind of herky-jerky. All right, I'm going to shut the video down for a second. Well, the camera is still beeping when I turn it on, so hopefully nothing is shorted out yet. Okay, let's see if I can get on the highway and get home without any more serious rain problems. I don't mind riding in the rain, I kind of like it, but I don't like dealing with the traffic. I need to treat this shield with anti-fog today. It is really fogging up on me. Today. Ooh, that thing's running rich. This is not smell-o-vision. It's a fairly new vehicle, too. I'm surprised it could run that rich. Smells like behind a lacquer thinner truck. Ugh. I don't know if you can see the lights and the reflection of the vehicle in front of me, but I've got the driving lights on this thing set up to where main bus power for the lights is independent of the lighting system. So that's the waterproof switch down here, PIA lighting, and that feeds the main lights. The initial trigger for it is off of the low beam from the harness, so that's the enable, more or less. Then I've got two sets of lights on the front. I've got flood beams and spot beams. The flood beams are on for the low beam proportion, and then when I turn on high beams, you can see in you can't quite see in the reflection, but the high beam for the bike and the inner set of the spot beams comes on. So it's all keyed together. And if I need to turn them off for passing traffic or whatever, I can just hit the master off here. Just a couple of Bosch relays and creative wiring to do the enable and the pass through for the high beam side. In one of my many former careers, former life, whatever you want to call it, I did mobile electronics, competition electronics for a number of years in my late teens through early 20s. Competition car audio national championship several years running for our company, and everything from alarm systems to custom wiring to, in a couple cases, complete tear-outs of factory wiring harnesses and rewiring vehicles from scratch for show vehicles and whatnot. So electronics and wiring is no stranger for me. Well, lane splitting is not legal, but this is where I just go around people that are sleeping at the switch. 3 people all changing lanes. This guy's making an illegal left. Unbelievable. Yeah, so this is that same groove pavement section that just gives the Ryker fits. No problem on a bike. Really no problem on a car either. And I'm running out of room fast, people, so I'm going to come on over. I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind. I'm coming on through. I'm coming on through. Thank you, thank you. That guy was actually nice. He slowed down. Yeah, looks like I might ride out of the rain here. That's slick as glass. Doesn't look like the rain grooves are doing a good job there. Okay, so I said that I was going to mention the Kaoko. A little hard to do while I'm riding here, but that's the Kaoko on the end. And it's just a pain in the butt to use. I got to sit here and dial it up with my pinky finger and get it to hold, and then I can kind of, but see, now it's still way too loose and I drop off. So you got to get it pretty stinking tight for it to hold. And I've adjusted the little tension set screw on it multiple times, and it just never gets any better. So you got to dial it up pretty stinking tight. The trick is, I'm going to hold my chin over this way and keep watching out of the corner of my eye for the road. As you roll it on, you're supposed to use your pinky finger and you roll the throttle and it back at the same time to tighten it. So once you get it set okay, it's all right and everything's fine and dandy. But now if I need to roll on to accelerate to pass somebody or whatever, I have to force it back down, and in doing that, it loosens the cruise control at the same time, and then it drops off to nothing. So I just find that these are more of a pain in the ass to use than they're worth. And this was expensive. This thing was like 160 bucks. Plus the special bar end adapter for the bark busters. So I think all told it was close to $200 for that. And I've never really been a fan of it. I've not gotten any good use out of it, in my opinion. In contrast, those simple little Go Cruise friction locks that tap against your brake lever here, they work a treat. They're just fantastic. Super simple, they're cheap, less than 20 bucks. Put them on there, and then they just rest against your brake lever and roll on the throttle when you need, let go, you return back to where you were. Life is good. And again, I'm sure people are probably listening to this saying, oh, you're just too picky, you're bitching. When you ride as much as I do, every little thing like that, little mechanical problems, little niggles like that, they add up, and they're just an annoyance. And yes, you can learn to get around them and ignore them, but why treat yourself that way, and why teach yourself to ignore a problem? Just go around it, find a better solution. And in my case, that the Go Cruise, they're a much better solution. They just work. In some cases, they can be a little loose, and they'll allow the grip to slip down, kind of like they're doing on the Ryker. But the fix for that is they come with a thick rubber band that you place around the grip, and that gives you more surface area. It's a little tackier, and it allows that clamp to be tighter on the grip, and it won't slip. I just didn't put it on the Ryker yet because I have to pull the handguard off of there to slide it over the end. Not a big deal. Well, yeah, I got to do the handguard and the bar end mirror. There's a couple little things in the way, but nothing that's not easily solved. And this thing is just such a treat to ride. I mean, I could probably sit on the back seat of this thing and ride it all day, hands-free. I mean, it goes where you want it to go. No problems, no bad road manners. So coming from well-behaved machines, all of my bikes, all being very well-behaved, to the Ryker, where it's got the alignment issue, that's why I call it out so much, because to me, it is not normal. And no matter what the dealer says about that being normal, I don't know anybody that would accept that kind of behavior, those kind of road manners, out of any vehicle, and just think that that's normal. The constant fighting and correcting to keep it straight, that's just nonsense. There's got to be a solution for it. And if it's alignment, okay. If it's different tire selection, okay. Whatever it is, there is a solution. But just to say that it's normal and ignore it and get used to it, live with it, nah, bullshit. Because I've ridden F3s and RTs, and they don't have that behavior. At least the ones I rode didn't, and there have been 5 of them. I rode 2 RTs and 3 different F3s. I've not ridden any of the older ones, like the SE5s and stuff like that. Just haven't had the opportunity. I miss this bike. I love this bike. It's just such a good machine. It's super comfortable. It's got a big plush seat. I'm steering it with my feet right now. Just a little bit extra pressure and weight on the peg on one side or the other. And it just goes. It never has any any problems. As I said earlier, the only thing that's a little bit, annoying about it, I guess, would be the suspension. It can be a little harsh. The newer models from, I think, 16 on, or maybe 17 on, I think it was 16, when they redid the front end and they did LED lights, they also put adjustable suspension on it as well. The rear shock doesn't have any more adjustment than this one, but I think it was slightly revalved, but the front end is adjustable for, I don't know if it's compression or rebound or both, but, give you a little tweakability. that probably makes a little difference for most people. I could always do the cartridge inserts on this thing. I don't think I would go the expensive route, but I would probably think about doing the not Race Tech, what's the other one? There's a cheaper one, I'll think of it. Anyway, YSS PD valves, there you go. I've got those in my PCXs, and they made a world of difference in the PCX, because that is budget suspension. And they're not expensive. I think they were $100 a set for the PD valves, 68 bucks a set, something like that. For this, they might be a little bit more. You have to do some minor modification to the damping tubes in the bottom of the fork legs. You have to drill out the oil flow holes because you're basically bypassing that. You want it to flow as much oil through the damping rod as possible, and then the PD valve takes care of the damping and rebound. I've thought a few times about selling this bike and just making room in the garage, but every time I ride it, I just can't see letting it go. It wasn't that expensive. I bought it new from Wild West down here. I have to look at my invoice again, but I think out the door, including tax and everything, was right at $6K. And I've had it for 2.5 going on 3 years now, and I've got just shy of 15,000 miles on it. I split up my miles across all the bikes, so no one of them takes any serious hit. Great machine. Hey, dry road, what do you know? There's a police in front of me. See, like right here, it'd be just so nice to just roll the throttle down, but it's stuck. You gotta loosen that tension nut on the cruise control. Alright, so we got a stoppage here. Go ahead. Hello, you need help? Yeah, won't start. Okay. Oh, there's nothing. Wow. Huh, okay. Well, I don't have a jump start box with me, or I would try to do it. I could try to push you if you want. I mean, I'm serious. I could push you over to the corner or something. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's charging, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, but you said you called somebody already? You're good? Okay. Okay. All right. Well, if I'll be happy to help push you if you want to get out of the way, but okay. All right. Have a good day. Now I know why nobody was going. I don't really want to push an SUV by myself, and nobody else looked like they were eager to help. Wet pavement, not ideal to try to push a 4,500-pound SUV. And usually I have a jump box. I carry one of the little lithium-ion jump starters with me for this bike in particular, because I take it so many places. But if she's got a totally dead charging system, that's not going to help her. Might get her started for a second, but she's not charging, so that means the alternator's probably toast or something's not connected at the battery, and it won't run very long.